If you're facing divorce in Texas, the first question isn't whether you need the most help possible. It's what kind of help actually fits your situation, especially if you and your spouse already agree on a lot. With full representation, a lawyer can guide the legal strategy, handle negotiation, prepare the paperwork, appear at hearings, support you in mediation, and represent you in court. This usually makes the most sense when the divorce is more complicated, like contested custody, major property issues, domestic violence, or concerns that assets are being hidden. In other words, your attorney manages the case from beginning to end. When the conflict is serious, the kind of help you need changes too. If you're dealing with high tension, safety concerns, or major disagreements, this usually isn't something to navigate on your own. And when the case turns on court arguments, custody disputes, or complex property issues, having a lawyer speak for you can make a real difference because the stakes are simply too high to manage by yourself. Limited scope help means you get support for specific parts of the divorce, rather than handing the entire case over to one attorney from start to finish. With Ready Divorce Service, that support focuses on preparing your divorce documents and guiding you through the filing process so each step is easier to follow. It's designed for people who are able to represent themselves but still want accurate paperwork support so they don't have to guess their way through the forms. That also means you would not have a lawyer appearing for you in court or speaking on your behalf in a courtroom. And it doesn't mean getting legal advice for every choice that comes up in your divorce. The help stays focused on the specific filing and paperwork support you signed up for. This tends to work especially well in uncontested divorces or in agreed cases where you and your spouse are already aligned on the main terms. You still stay actively involved in the case, but you don't have to pay for full legal help at every step when targeted support can cover what you need. If the big issues like property, debt, and parenting are already worked out, limited scope help may be all you need to get the paperwork done correctly and move the case forward. But if you're facing major disagreements or complicated legal issues, full representation is often the safer choice because you may need someone managing strategy, negotiation, and court-related decisions from start to finish. The simplest way to choose is to match the level of help to how difficult your case really is. Having your divorce documents prepared professionally can help prevent filing mistakes that slow things down or force you to redo paperwork. And when each part of the filing process is explained step by step, it's much easier to know what comes next and move forward with confidence. For many Texans, the biggest advantage is cost. You get focused help where it matters without paying the higher price of full representation from start to finish. You keep more control over the timeline and the decisions because you're still the one choosing when to move forward and how the agreed terms come together. For many uncontested divorces, that makes the process more efficient too, especially when the main issues are already settled and the goal is to get the paperwork done correctly without extra layers of involvement. You still get experienced help preparing the paperwork, but you don't have to pay for a lawyer to manage the entire divorce from beginning to end. So, if you need support and guidance rather than someone taking over the whole case, this kind of service can be a practical fit. Accurate forms really matter because even small paperwork mistakes can delay your divorce and force you to correct and refile documents. And when you have document preparation help, the filing process usually feels more organized, so it's easier to track what you filed and what comes next. It tends to be a strong fit when the divorce is fairly straightforward and you and your spouse are already on the same page about the main terms. It's also a good option if you want to stay actively involved in your own divorce, with support where you need it instead of turning every step over to someone else. Once a divorce turns into a court fight, the equation changes. What may have been manageable as paperwork suddenly becomes a legal dispute with higher stakes. If you need someone to advocate for you in negotiations or at hearings, full representation is usually the better match. If your case is relatively straightforward, limited scope help gives you targeted support where it counts, and usually at a lower cost than hiring a lawyer for every part of the divorce. Full representation gives you broader protection, with a lawyer handling strategy, negotiation, and legal advocacy when you need someone actively standing up for your interests. Start by looking honestly at how much you and your spouse disagree. If the main terms are mostly settled, the case may only need practical support. If conflict is driving the process, you may need a higher level of legal help. Then ask what kind of help you're actually looking for. If you mainly need accurate paperwork and filing support, document help may be enough. If you need someone to manage the case, handle strategy, and step in legally for you, that's full representation. At the end of the day, the best option is the one that fits both what you're trying to accomplish and how simple or complicated your divorce really is. And for many uncontested divorces in Texas, that means limited scope services can be enough to keep the case moving without paying for full representation. If that sounds like the right level of help for your divorce, visit ReadyDivorceService.com and see whether Ready Divorce Service fits your situation. You can take the next step with more clarity and get the kind of support that matches your case.